said yesterday that this is a very fluid and rapidly evolving situation, and the key is not so much what we do at any point in time, but how swiftly we adjust and recalibrate our plans and actions. And so just in the last 24 hours, we have seen an accelerating trend in the infection among PRC nationals from Hubei province. Right, within Singapore itself, we have had a near doubling of imported cases overnight. All of the cases confirmed in Singapore are imported, and all of them are Chinese nationals from Hubei. Within China itself, the rate is also accelerating. The numbers are increasing overnight as well. And the infection in other Chinese cities too originate from Hubei. So it is clear there is a heightened risk of Hubei travelers, and that risk posed to Singapore. And that's why the task force met this morning and decided to take additional measures on top of what we had announced yesterday to protect ourselves. Right, so just to quickly summarize, firstly, there are travelers from Hubei who are now in Singapore. I think someone from the media asked about this yesterday, and we said we were in the process of reaching out to them. So there are indeed 2,000 of them still here in Singapore. Some are Singaporeans and PRs back from Hubei, and some are tourists. So we will assess them, and for those who are of higher risk, namely they had been here more recently and during the incubation period, we will quarantine them. Secondly, there will be a group of returning residents and long-term pass holders. These are people who are based in Singapore. They had now gone to China and will be in the process of coming back after the holidays. Right? They were either traveling in Hubei, perhaps, or would hold PRC passports issued in Hubei. In fact, we also talked about this group yesterday. Right? We said these are people who are traveling in China coming back. We wanted employers to take precautions when they come back, but now we are again taking an additional step to quarantine all of those who had specific travel history in Hubei and who hold passports, PRC passports issued in Hubei. So that's the second thing we are doing. Right? So that takes care of the stock in Singapore, and those who are based here may have traveled over to China, particularly Hubei, and then will be in the process of coming back after the new year. Thirdly, we are looking at new arrivals, all new visitors. The numbers have already come down because of all the measures taken by China and Singapore. But given the heightened risk, we don't want to leave anything to chance, so we will not allow entry of any new visitor who has had recent travel history in Hubei or is holding a PRC passport issued in Hubei. No entry, nor will we allow transit through Singapore. ICA will also not issue any more new visas, and they will suspend all visas that have been issued previously. Right, so that's the position we are taking. 3 additional measures on top of the 3 that we had announced today because of the heightened risk. I said yesterday that we have a comprehensive plan in place, and we have contingencies covering, we have drawer plans covering all different contingencies. So these were measures that are part of our plans, and because of the escalating situation, we have decided to activate them now. The point is, as I said, the situation is really evolving rapidly. There's new information coming up by the hour, by the day, and we have to constantly stay on top of this. So we should be mindful that, although I don't want to meet like this, we have to get used to the fact that there will be constant updates coming, right? New information about how the virus is evolving in China, outside of China, and what additional measures we have to take to protect ourselves. For now, the latest assessment is that this virus may well be more transmissible than SARS, although as of now, the assessment is that the fatality rate is still lower. But again, this can change subsequently in the future. We cannot tell how this will evolve. And I know we sometimes compare to SARS, but this may well be a very different thing from SARS. It may evolve in a very different way, including the possibility, as was raised yesterday, and as the Chinese have raised, that there may be a risk of spread before symptoms show. And so this is the current situation. It is evolving rapidly, and we have to constantly adjust and recalibrate our position each time. We will be doing this. The government task force, the ministerial task force is meeting constantly. We are always updating our assessments all the time, and then we will adjust as we go along and as new information comes about. I think what's critical is that we all stay calm, we stay vigilant. With vigilant monitoring, with the evidence-based approach that we are taking, and with constant adjustments of new measures that are needed to protect Singaporeans and to ensure the overall welfare of Singaporeans is safeguarded. That's our primary aim, and that remains the case today. For now, I want to emphasize there is no evidence of community spread in Singapore. Right? There is no, so our overall aim is still to contain the situation and minimize the risk of community spread. And these additional measures will help us achieve this goal. But we should be prepared, because it is evolving so rapidly. We should be prepared that the situation can worsen. But as I've said, we are monitoring, and we will take further actions if and when necessary.